Alrighty, guys, here we are, and it's time for another Get Starched rant. So today's question was one that I commonly get, and it's Taylor, help. I have shin splints. I've been dealing with them for a while now. I don't know what to do. What are some good exercises that I should do for shin splints? And that's great, and that's awesome. And there's plenty of times that I will send some exercises over to help with that. But this is going to lead me into my rant tonight, which is, even when it comes to other areas of the body besides the shins, someone will message me and say, hey, Taylor, I'm having some shoulder issues bench pressing. What are some good exercises? Or, I'm having IT band pain. What are some good exercises? Or, what are some good exercises for this? And that's great. And I understand a lot of people need help. And there's so much access to information that a lot of people can get, help online. And there's a lot of times where, you have this area that's hurting, you have this injury, and then someone sends you maybe a couple exercises and you do them and the pain goes away. And that's awesome. And that's great. But what I want to talk about tonight is that I think people are going about this the wrong way, and it's because they're asking the wrong questions. And I think once I use a little bit of an analogy tonight, you'll understand how, from my perspective as a trainer, strength coach, and someone who produces content for the fitness industry, that I understand where you're coming from when you say, hey Taylor, what are exercises for shin splints? What should I do? Send me a couple exercises, send me a couple videos. And like I said, a lot of times I will, but let me use an example to explain why that's not the right way about thinking about it when it comes to dealing with a painful spot, an injury, a tweak, your one area that always seems to be angry. So let me use the example of like cooking or baking, because I think that's going to make a lot of sense. So I have a recipe off to the left of it's carrot, orange, and ginger soup with some chicken. So now, here's what I want you to think. So I've got that recipe off to the left. Now, I want you to picture now I'm an executive chef. And you say, what are some good ingredients for cooking? Well, salt, butter, milk, cinnamon, pepper, olive oil. So it's kind of a weird question. It's not a bad question, and in the right context, it could make a lot more sense, especially if you had a very specific dish that you were trying to create. But I want you to just think at the surface level right now and not take it deeper. If you just ask executive chef, what are good ingredients? It's kind of odd because yes, there are main ingredients that we use in a lot of dishes like flour or sugar or milk or eggs, and they're used in a lot of recipes, but in other recipes they're not used, even though they're used all the time. And then there's certain things that aren't used very frequently, but in the right dish, they are a key ingredient. So when you message a trainer or someone online and you say, hey, what are some exercises for my rotator cuff? Or insert area or muscle. It's not wrong, and it's not bad. But think about the question in terms of if you were asking an executive chef about cooking or baking. So if I list off some ingredients already, I could send you some exercises and it could work, right? Especially if you are an experienced chef and you've been around the kitchen and you have good experience. So let me read off some ingredients of this recipe of, like I said, that ginger soup with chicken. So ready? Coconut oil, onion, ginger, cinnamon, chili powder, carrots, orange juice, coconut milk, salt, pepper, chicken, salt, and olive oil. Now, if you were to say which of those ingredients are good, I mean, technically, aren't they all good in their respective manners? And also to think that, olive oil is good in dishes, but if you used a gallon of olive oil, that'd be way too much, and that wouldn't be healthy, or it would taste terrible. Same with salt. So, salt for maybe a teaspoon or tablespoon is good and necessary for the dish, but, 10 tablespoons of salt would ruin the dish. So notice how if I just list off a bunch of those ingredients, now if you've had experience making a meal like this, or you have training at a high level, you could probably take those ingredients and then come up with a respective dish and then execute that dish, and it turn out fairly good. Now you might need to tweak a couple things in terms of the serving sizes, but if you've got experience cooking and you know how to cook and you've got an ingredient list, you can get there. But now I want you to think about you or most of the people online who honestly just don't have that much of a background when it comes to exercise science or strength and conditioning, and their knowledge is 6-second TikToks or Reels, which is fine. But now I want you to think that with this, if I just right now said, I want you to make a dish, or if you said, Taylor, I want to make chicken and ginger soup, and I just sent you 5 of the 25 ingredients with no measurements of how much of each, and then no instructions, I mean, could you somehow maybe come up with something that's edible? Yeah, for sure. If you know how to cook chicken, right? You could come up with something that's edible and won't make you sick. Same thing. I can send you a bunch of exercises that aren't going to make you worse. But that doesn't mean the dish tastes even remotely like it's supposed to, or it's even satisfying, or even something you would want to eat. So once again, if I just send you, here's this calf raise variation, that's like telling you to have salt in this soup, but I don't tell you how much or what other ingredients need to be there to make the salt taste well. So, or, how much milk compared to how much chili powder or how much cinnamon. Now, once again, with certain ingredients, it's a little bit easier, right? And the more simple the dish, the less room for error it is. So, of course, if you're trying to make this complex dish, same with exercise. So if you have a general problem, I could probably throw 3 random exercises into the direct message, and you could try them and they could work, which is awesome. And a lot of times you're going to get a novel stimulus because you've never done those exercises before, and that's beneficial in its own, which is cool. And it's exciting to do new exercises. But what I'm trying to encourage you is it's okay to think about ingredients, but a good executive chef, a good baker, knows ingredients and knows how to use them in what dishes, and is creative with how they put those together or how they combine flavors. But the true skill of a baker and chef is the fact that they can bake and cook, which is the skill of knowing how to combine those ingredients and to do all you need in the kitchen when it comes to heating, when it comes to cooling, when it comes to sautéing, when it comes to seasoning. That's what a good strength coach knows how to do. And that's what good strength conditioning and programming is about. See, if I just take all those random exercises and just throw them together. Now, if I was just making a smoothie, so ready? If I'm just putting milk, some ice, some frozen berries in, and I just blend it, that's most people's workouts in strength conditioning. And that's okay, because most people aren't looking to do anything crazy. They just want to be healthy, they want to have fun, and they want to be active. And that's cool. So what most people are doing when it comes to their workouts and training is trying to stay healthy, trying to exercise and have fun. So that's almost like making a smoothie where you just put some ice in, you put some milk, you don't even measure it, you throw a banana, you throw some frozen berries, and 9 times out of 10, it tastes pretty good, and it's actually really enjoyable. It's very easy to make. So that's most people's training, and that's great. But when someone messages me with a specific issue, like shin splints, or, oh, my rotator cuff hurts when I'm doing pull-ups, or my elbow, now you're telling me that you're not just making a smoothie. You're not just making a simple dish. It's not a general issue, it's a specific issue. So when it comes to specific issues, you need specific solutions, which means that I can't just say, hey, grab some ice, some milk, and throw some frozen berries in your smoothie and click blend for 15 seconds. You're asking for a very complex dish. And so if I just say, yeah, milk, salt, and pepper and cinnamon is what I normally put in a casserole, that's cool. Sorry, the Labradors are barking right now. So if I put that in a casserole, like, that's cool, but number one, you've never made it before, so that's going to be really hard. Now, even if you have made it before, if you don't get some of those things right, you might not like how the dish turns out. So same thing. If I send you 3 exercises for your calves, shins, and ankles, and I don't tell you how many sets, how many reps, how you put that in the week, what you do for the next week, what you do for the next 4 weeks, what you do for 8 weeks, how do you progress them, how do you progressive overload, what you do if it's not working, what you do if you have pain in the exercise. See, those are the instructions. That's how we bake and cook. That's what strength and conditioning experts and people who really know their stuff, they know how to cook with the ingredients. Most people online are just searching for new ingredients. They don't take the time to actually learn how to bake and cook like a pro. So I appreciate your question when you say, what are some exercises I can do? But just like if I was a chef and you say, what's a good casserole? And I sent 3 random ingredients with no instructions, nothing like that, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, fortunately, when it comes to exercise, we know that most people have general issues and they can do generally a lot of things and they're going to get better. So that's the smoothie example I talked about. Just throw a bunch of stuff in a smoothie, random combinations, and it's generally going to turn out well. But a lot of you are messaging me or another trainer or someone else you respect on Instagram with a very specific issue or injury or, area that's hurting that has been for a long time, and it's very complex. And that's like a very complex dish. So I hope this doesn't discourage you to keep sending those messages, because a lot of times we will send a video or say, hey, try these couple exercises. Or if, say, you're cooking a casserole and someone says, hey, this is what I've been doing, I say, oh, just try adding a little bit more salt. That could be helpful. But you're getting focused on ingredients. Executive Chef, if you've ever watched Hell's Kitchen or Top Chef, I love those shows because when they do the competition, they'll try to catch the chefs off guard, and they'll like blindfold them or whatever, or they'll be like, okay, 3, 2, 1, and they'll have all these random ingredients that don't at surface level appear like they can make a delicious dish. And then they'll have like 30 minutes to figure it out and how to put all that together. Or they'll spin a wheel and they'll get random ingredients. But the best chefs can take those random ingredients and cook a just world-class dish. But it's because they know the rules of cooking. They know the rules of baking. They know how to heat things. They know how to cool things. They know how to slice. They know the temperatures, the times. Just like a good strength coach knows the progressions, knows the maxims, how much intensity is right, how much volume is right. So don't get caught up in the ingredients. You need to be focused on how do you actually cook. How do you actually take all those random ingredients and produce something that's not only edible and won't kill you or give you salmonella or make you sick, but actually is going to make you stronger, faster, better. See, this is where the big disconnect is right now, is very few people are interested in taking the time, effort, and energy to learn how to cook. And so they have a bunch of random ingredients. They keep throwing them together, and they're like, well, yeah, they were able to just like close their nose and swallow it down, and they didn't throw up, but after a while, like I said, that's kind of what happens. So now I want you to think about that is, are you chasing ingredients or just new ingredients, which is cool. If you know how to cook, new ingredients are fun because they can open new worlds, especially you can take that new ingredient and apply it to stuff that you've already been cooking with. But most of you don't need to be chasing new ingredients. You need to be learning how to cook. You need to learn how to cook chicken. You need to learn to cook steak. You need to learn how to season. And that's my rant tonight, and that's how we get starched.